This is a conversation between two technical people and also spiritual person. Shehnaz Soni is originally from Pakistan, settled in America. She works in NASA as a rocket scientist. She is also author of a book called Quantum Being. And Shiv Mathur is an ex-naval officer, commander, and worked in IT and telecom, and spiritual explorer.
So, hi, Shiv, Mathur. I'm so grateful, by the way, because you reached out to me and we created this quantum convergence after my interview at Next Level Soul. So please go ahead, Shiv, and introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks, Shehnaz. It was quite exciting for me to, you know, come across your video and we could connect up and agree to have a conversation. And it means last few days I was thinking of, I've been interacting with a lot of spiritual people in my travel, but they are from a different mental intellect. And I was actually thinking of coming across some scientist level people who can amalgamation of science and spirituality, and then we can have a conversation at a different level. So that's how it has the universe has made it happen today. So yeah, I'll tell about myself in short because we have shortage of time, and I think I have a YouTube channel and I have a website shivmathur.com. So I think if people want, they can go through the website and the YouTube channel, and there are a couple of videos which tell about me. In short, I'm an electrical engineer. I'm from India. I was born in Varanasi and I did my schooling in Rajasthan. Then I went to do electrical engineering in REC Warangal, which is one of the kind of a good college in India. Probably it was 10th ranking in India that time. And then I joined the Indian Navy, where I was mainly spent a lot of time with surface-to-air missile systems, guided missile systems. And I was also instructor in the Naval Engineering College, teaching microprocessors and basic electronics and control systems. These were the subjects which I taught for the 3 years I was there. Then I moved to some other assignments. My last assignment in 16 years of stay in Navy was in the nuclear submarine design project, where I was involved with. I don't know whether I can tell that. So I was then in this nuclear submarine project with the core technology area. And then I left Navy in 2005 and I joined IBM, an IT company, and I did many projects, mainly networking projects. I was doing like in interconnection of income tax department offices in India. It was a basic LAN project. And then I was looking after the IT infrastructure of Vodafone account, and then a couple of more projects. Then I was into telecom, purely telecom and Tata Telecom, then Reliance Jio, the big telecom companies. In 2019, I left my corporate job after working for 16 years in different corporates. I also went to Saudi Telecom, rolling out their 4G. So I was assistant vice president in Reliance Jio, and in 2019, my wife, she got a job in Poland in British school. She's an economics teacher, and I was already got into teaching meditation and all. So I was organizing some workshops and retreats in Europe, and I found this as an opportunity to get out of, unplug myself from the corporate job and take a plunge into this. And I told my wife, you want to teach, so you work, and I will do something else. So then we got into some conflicts because of this change and all. I mean, that's another big story. So I moved out of my corporate jobs, and then I came back in 21 to India. I was in Poland for 2 years, and I came back and did some sundry jobs. Like I was plant head for a factory which was making underwater transducers for military applications. So I did transformation of the plant, and then I moved. Then I was for a year in charge of a military hospital. I mean, it's like a not really a hospital, but a consulting hospital which military has in India for the retired people. So I did kind of funny kind of jobs, all kind of jobs. And finally, I quit last year, and I have decided to pursue my spiritual passion. And I did some sadhana in the Himalayas for 3 months, and I'm again back here, and I'm restarting that. And this is what it is in short.
Wow. So if I have to summarize your story, we both have electrical engineering in common. We both have corporate work environment in common. We both have passion for spirituality and teaching and sharing our wisdom in common. And it seems like that in your case, you wrote a book also, 3 books in 2022. I wrote my book, The Quantum Being, in 2022. So we had that in common. And the thing, based on your story, it seems like in order for you to get where you are today, not only you had to leave your corporate job, you also have had to accept that in order to follow your calling, everybody doesn't walk with you, even the people who were walking with you before. So that is definitely, it's like people can say it's a price to pay, but I say that that's pretty much what's called evolution. Because when that's why I use that example, right? That when you're a flying seagull, and there is a time in your life when you are going to completely do solo flying, but you're at least doing what you want to do, and that becomes more important than whom you're with, and that's the choice you make, right? So no, I appreciate that. And as far as I'm concerned, of course, I have had a long journey of finding myself through my extreme experiencing, like the family life and raising children, being married, moving from Pakistan and coming to Los Angeles out of any place, and then having to just acculturate myself in an environment where I did not know the language. All of that has groomed me to be where I am today. And now I'm already looking at a whole different world ahead of me, right? Because your vantage point changes based on where you're standing. And now I'm looking at the point where, okay, on one hand, I have this creative side that want to explore my passion for sharing my wisdom through many venues, versus working in a corporate world, designing a rocket to go to moon and Mars. And they both sound very exciting in their own way, which is why I'm still dwelling into both worlds. However, I'm open to taking a side, right? And actually, I want to focus our conversation today, especially, is on taking the side, because you already took a side. You live where you live, which is why you're so wrapped up. and so I would like to ask you this question: that now where you are at this point, what is in your life that makes you feel extremely peaceful and serene in your day-to-day life? Like, what is that one thing that like reminds you that thanks for coming home, because this is your home now where you are?
Yeah, so I'm still not in my house. My house is in Pune, and I left my house 2 weeks back. And I came to this place, and I'm moving to another place, and I have a couple of options in the Himalayas I can go. And so I'm trying to find a place. My plan was to actually sell my house in Pune, and I move to the mountains completely, buy a piece of land, and make my house and grow my own vegetables and fruits, and also create a space for other seekers to come and exchange ideas and have a conversation. So kind of a spiritual center, not like a kind of organization or an ashram, but like a more advanced scientific spiritual center for a kind of people who you feel will benefit from this, not just like an open house. So that was my plan, but it didn't happen for various reasons. So in between, I tried to pick up a job, and then I realized, how long can I keep working? I also need to pursue something, and also give back to the society, because I feel when we live a materialistic life and following our worldly needs, fulfillments, and liabilities and responsibilities, we leave aside our own personal progress, and also we are only doing for ourselves. It's more like a selfish fulfillment which we are driving at that stage of life, and then somewhere you have to switch off from that, and then whatever you've gained, then there's a time for everything. You can't be just chasing money all the time, and there has to be a time to give back to the society, and to also learn something which is more core to the purpose of human life, and more because when you go back, when you leave the earth, when you actually get launched into the move onto the rocket, into your rockets, go elsewhere into the outer space, and when you meet God, He will ask you, "What did you do?" And you say, "I only just kept eating and accumulating." So what was that? What do you have to give? And so that was something which I was trying to explore, and I started using. Today I was talking to somebody, and I was telling, initially I started calling myself spiritual seeker, and then I realized, no, I'm not a seeker, I'm an explorer. Then I said, no, I'm not an explorer, I'm an investigator. And now I say, now I've found another nice word, that I'm a detective, spiritual detective. So I'm actually pursuing that, and I don't have a fixed home right now, but I'm trying to see where will I finally stabilize. And it's become very unpredictable. My life is very unpredictable when you take a plunge, when you decide to pursue something despite all odds. And it's like a test. It's like a test that how serious you're about reaching somewhere. What all challenges you feel are challenges, but spiritual evolvement makes you go through all, and your like you talked about peace of mind. This is something a study of mine I did, and also had some experiences. It was also self-inquiry. The process of self-inquiry is very much required, which initially started a decade back, unknowingly, and I was actually seriously inquiring about life, what is the purpose of life, and what exactly you're chasing, and what all will you want to achieve, and who belongs to you, and a lot of surprises comes in life, and then you see that the social norms which are imposed on you, they are all falling apart, and then you're coming up with surprises after surprises in life, and what was told to you about definition of success and this and that, everything seems to be failing. And then you start questioning, and when you start right questioning, self-inquiry, you start getting answers. And then at a time it comes when the grace also comes. So I had some experience of out of time and space and spiritual experiences in some place in a cave and with some people in Himalayas, and they made took me to some different dimension for that moment for a couple of minutes or maybe half an hour, 1 hour. Those experiences, and they made me realize they actually this world disappeared. This whole world disappeared in those moments, and made me realize probably like God that there is something just beyond which cannot be explained. Maybe there is a word in Hindi, anubhuti. I don't know what is the word for in English, so I don't want to right now try to figure out that word, but I'm just telling that. So those things happened, and the peace came in those one of the spiritual movements and those blissful experiences, and then it continued like that. It was pretty surprising how it happened. But being a science guy, but some person my mind expanded, got some clarity. When the mind is empty, it starts giving answers. That's the beauty of spirituality and the mind, the power of mind. I could find out the whole process, how it happened. It just came to me, and my first book is on that. So I started. I got this urge to give it back to the society. So I started teaching in Europe, and the feedback was very good. Then I started. I had some videos about the yogis in the Himalayas. They became viral. Then I started making my videos on meditation. Then I realized teaching and the videos, why not document this process? When I wrote a book, it just happened. Like I am not a book reader. I don't read books. Writing was just out of question. So I still don't call myself author. But I just wrote this book in 7 days, and second book in 10 days. And 4 months I edited, designed, everything, self-published all these books. So all this happened, and peace came through actually a process, self-inquiry, and with a grace also finally.
Right. So it's all about alignment, right? When you find the alignment, then the creativity flows without any resistance, which is why so that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting because I actually believe that you can be in the world and not from it, because I actually am quoting Allama Iqbal. He was one of the most incredible poet in Pakistan growing up, and I really liked his poetry. I actually liked his poetry a lot because just like Khalil Gibran, his poetry to me is really incredibly beautiful and amazing. And that's what I'm actually doing right now, because I don't think that, and it's good that you respond to my question by being very honest about what your current situation is. Like you are basically telling that, yeah, you are where you want to be. However, you truly don't have a lot of certainty in your life. And I think it's good that you're so honest about it, because people should know that there's always that aspect of life, right? That, to me, I don't get attached to what label we should use. I actually use the word the quantum being, like you were using all these different words, right? I use the quantum being, which is why I wrote the book, because we are all at the subatomic level the same. And to me, it's very important that people learn how to tap into that gamma synchrony, the feeling of meditation. I use light body activation in my practice, that I believe that, we can just activate ourselves. And all of that basically takes you home. And to home to me means that your awareness of your multidimensional existence, your awareness of the fact that you're not just physical person, you're emotional, you're mental, you're spiritual, and your awareness of there's more to life than meets the eyes. All of that, when you really start feeling it and understanding it, and you can give it to yourself, that feeling at any moment you decide, because you just have to decide. Like you and I can do that right now. If we decide that we want to go there, we just do it, right? And it helps when you close your eyes, because it's so much illusion right in front of us that distract us. So no, I actually believe that it's good for people to have different type of examples, because your example is very different than mine. Right now, I do dwell into the matrix world. I have a very good corporate job. I actually kind of love my job in its own way. I even do, like with my coworkers, sometimes when they're stressed out, I teach them the light body activation, just impromptu, while we are having discussion, and they just love it. So it's kind of different way of showing up. And then I've opened this portal for me to just experience people like yourself, right? And all the people that are coming to me, especially with my latest adventure that I did with Alex Ferrari, has opened a lot of doors for me. And I find it very exciting. But it's, to me, it's like we should live like this, like a kid in a candy shop, where you always have that childlike intuition, curiosity, and then you pick and choose. And as long as you're doing it with integrity, I always say that whatever you do it with integrity. Like, don't hurt another human in the process. At least be transparent to them. Like in your case, for example, if you're going on a path where your partner doesn't want to go, then you say, you know what, my heart wants to go here. I would love for you to come with me. But if you don't come with me, then there's nothing personal. I have to follow. You see my point? As long as you keep doing that, then you are evolving. And I think that's what we're all here to do.
Yeah, I think what in a different way I would say, like, one has to follow the passions, because there is a time for fulfillment, worldly fulfillment, our responsibilities. But there is also a time somewhere the transition should begin to move towards a passion. And all these corporate jobs, in fact, I will ask you a question now. So all these corporate jobs are fulfilling. In fact, my best tenure and my best job was actually in the missiles, when I was dealing with the missiles. Most fulfilling, because you can see it flying and hitting a target. So you see, all the effort going into that's a success. And so the passion has to be finally found and followed, and passions also do change, I think. And certainly this came as a gift to me, I would say, the spiritual passion. And being a science background also, when you are launching rockets and missiles, you are a perfectionist. So that becomes your attitude. So when you get into, you don't do things at surface level. You become a person who has to go and dig out everything. We are like about, so if I decide to unravel the mysteries of human existence, so I think I like to go all out, and like those yogis and saints and Sufis and all those kind of people who have been inspiring us in this life. So I was inspired, and now I think some people are getting inspired by even my life or my explorations, and like you, a person like you. So we also have to inspire people, because the world is pretty much trapped in this material and so-called false notions, capitalist and consumerist notions. And somehow, how do you, come out of it from these bondages, and then explore, become a free explorer? And like as you said, child like innocence, actually. And one should always remain a child, because what is the difference between a child and an adult is the social conditioning and the impurities which the society has imposed on us. And now when we realize that a lot of things are impure, and I need to purify, so that this is only a reprogramming of the brain. And then we have all this quantum definitions for our human existence, and we go to the subatomic level and the consciousness level. So we talk about light and time, space, consciousness. And so we try to understand the whole human existence through that. And then mind expansion happens, and then you get more higher intuition, you get visions. So you see the different dimensions of life through all these. So my question is like, how, what do you feel being a rocket scientist in NASA and now a spiritual explorer? How do you see this science compared to spiritual? I see spirituality as science, creation as a science. So how do you see? Like I see all this science very primitive now. I mean, very. It doesn't have answers to what we are trying to find through the spiritual science.
And I agree with you, because I actually say magic precedes science, right? And magic is basically spirituality. To me, the very fact that you have that awareness that transcends the space and time, that is your ticket for evolution. And people like you and me who actually follow that, right, are the one who are able to see it and even ask the question that you're asking. So I 100% agree with you that science can look primitive. I do believe that science is catching up faster than ever, partly because there is just so much going on, like especially with the whole understanding of DNA, right? Or understanding of how, like trap light, like they actually already proved that, right? That light is trapped matter. And that was scientifically proven by Harvard. So what I'm saying is that in a way they're matching up. See, I never waited for science to prove that what I believe is right or wrong. I always use my spirituality, my essence, right? And that's why my whole thing is being a rocket scientist gives me the credibility for people to know that I'm saying that spirituality precedes science, because it does. And I agree with you 100%. And the thing is that we should not always wait for justifying ourselves. When you feel something in your heart, you don't need science, peer reviewed study to tell you, Shiv, that Shiv, I give you permission that you should leave your corporate job. You see my point? You should decide, because you are a conscious quantum human being. You decide what are the pros and cons, right? And you know what is your responsibility, who are the people depends on you. So to me, that's what we should all do, is decide based on where we are, because we have created our life in a certain way, and you don't want to just do something without having to understand the repercussion, because there's always a cause and effect of every action we take. And but you have to follow your inner calling, because when you don't follow your inner calling, then you're not doing a justice. But what I always say, that you can have both. You can live an incredible life as a rocket scientist, and you can still share the wisdom of the spirituality to the whole world, because why can't you have your cake and eat it too?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Right, I understand your point that you can still be in the corporate world, but like as I said, that there is a time for everything, and like if I say in India, I can work till 56 or 58 or maybe 60, but we have a retiring age. So you can actually choose to decide your retirement. So I decided to retire at 53, and then still I came back to a job. But then I realized that I was more into transformation. Like I used to, I basically do things to transform things. Whichever factory or wherever I go, I transform things, from a very bad situation. After that, you feel there's nothing left to do. So there's no learning. You have already taken that place to a very good level, and now you're twiddling your thumb over there. So it's time to move on. So what happens is that you somehow the universe is making you move on, and it is telling you now, I think your time is over here. It's up. It's like a game. You go to play a soccer game, and the time is
No,
up.
yeah, you're right
So
about that. You're right about that. It's like when you get that feeling in it. But I think the reason, because we come from that generation that we were always told that, like, if you become something, then that's all you are. Like, if you become a pilot, then you're a pilot. If you're a doctor, you're a doctor, right? If you're an engineer, you're an engineer. But the point is that what we are learning, right? I mean, all these labels. But if you really know now, based on everything you and I know now, we can tell our children that you don't have to put yourself in a one box, right? And that's what I actually like about a lot of younger generation, right? Like, you can be a musician, you can be an engineer, you can be a spiritual alchemist, and you can do it all in that one day. And that's what I do. Like, in my time that I'm awake, like, I'm tapping into different channels, right? I call them channels. And you don't ever have to wait, because to me, the whole thing about retirement, because people like you and me, I'm never going to retire, because as long as I exist, I'm going to do my quantum dance. So I am not going to retire ever, right? So those words and even the work, those words have energy that makes you kind of almost drain. Like to me, it should be all a play. There is no work, it's all play. Like even when, and that's what I do now but it took me quite like decades to get to that point, right? Because now I have been in the industry for so long that I understand the type of job I take or the type of role I take is something that aligns with the way I want to show up as an engineer, right? So of course I acquired all that freedom because I had to learn and navigate, and just like I went through all these, experience with family and marriages and all that made me realize what am I? What does Shehnaz want, right? But I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get here. But what I'm saying is that what Shiv, you and I can share with others is that you can have it all. Just make sure you do it consciously, make sure you do it with integrity, and make sure you do it where your passion is embedded in it.
So I sometimes call this whole spiritual journey is like the worldly part is separate. You can continue pursuing it, but because it depends upon a lot of factors, like the way you live in America, the whole infrastructure, it really supports a lot of things. The work culture is very different from what you see in India and Pakistan, So we have many challenges in our native countries where I'm living now compared to what you do, because I worked in IBM, which is a MNC. The work culture was very different. I worked in Juniper Networks, again a damn good, very good culture, but when it comes to India, gradually it becomes indigenized, Indianized, and then we get the culture changes. So due to those challenges, you feel sustaining, and then again economic slowdown, and you work in the private sector and in the government. So there are multiple challenges which put some kind of limitation in your aspirations, which are linked to your responsibilities and liabilities, and then you try to navigate within that. So you're trying to, like the current flows to the path of least resistance. So you're trying to find your path of least resistance and still fulfill your responsibility. And once they are over, you feel if it doesn't seem to be so practical to continue, and my time is probably up, I would still like to continue if all that's favorable to me. Otherwise, I would like to now. So I'm basically now going pretty much deep into this like full plunge, because now I'm trying to explore how the yogis lived in the mountains and how they. So I lived for 3 months, but not exactly in that remote. But now I am trying to gradually move, so experience solitude and all that stuff which the yogis did. So I'm trying to explore that, because rishis and munis and all saints were all scientists only, because they were exploring that, all the detailed science, the cosmic science, like the planets were all known 5,000 years before. They did astrology, already their old science. So I'm trying to pursue that and see how they explored that. Can I reach that level above the meditation level? This step is called dhyan, or meditation is called another one state of mind. Beyond that, you go into different dimensions. They call it samadhi, and I've experienced those states for a short time, but I want to see how can you then have a control over that state rather than going back and forth. So this is something I'm trying to explore more deeply now.
Right. No, that's pretty amazing. And I think it's good that you're doing that, because it's good for you to take that journey. And, I would like to say that I agree with you, because, I'm from Pakistan, and I know that the energy is very dense over there in terms of how you can materialize your experiences. But, what I would like to do is, because, to me, it's a supply versus demand, right? If a lot of people feel like you are feeling, then why can't we make the change by changing the system, right? If like I always say that I'm going to give you an example. When I drive from my home to my work, right? When I go to the base every day, I notice that there's all these fast food places on my pathway, right? I never eat fast food because I don't like it. But there are people that I live with, right, who are eating fast food, just like you're saying that you have a system that's not 100% ideal. And so I agree with that. I can relate that with my own story by giving you this particular example. And my whole thing is that if you can raise awareness where people really know that food can be your best medicine, right? Food can heal your body. And then even like the fast food will no longer last because nobody's going to go there. You see, supply versus demand, right? So if you educate the people that you actually want to eat the food that becomes your medicine, so that way you don't have to take medicine, you don't have to take anything else, you just eat your food like a medicine. And when that awareness happens, very few people will go to fast food. Fast food will run out of business. And ultimately they will probably even transform into sharing healthy food because they'll be like, oh my God, everybody wants healthy. Let's just make it healthy. The point is you change the system by changing the awareness. And what I'm saying is I truly, Shiv, I would love to actually kind of challenge you on this, is that one day when you open up a little portal for you where you can have a place for someone like me to come, right, and visit these incredible people that you're experiencing, and also have this type of conversation in front of the crowd where we help people with interactive life coaching by sharing that how are we going to make a difference, because everybody has to take a part, right? Because that's how ant can take over the elephant. How else can we do that?
Yeah, so I agree to you. Like I am when I'm telling you that I'm trying to live like a yogi. So there is a lot of discipline here. There's a lot of food. Like today only I was talking to some people that there are three inputs to the body. One is food, and one is your exercise, and one is through your mind. So there are three, and then prana, the breathing, which is the conscious, the light
Yes.
connection, okay, the cosmic energy, and rest all is kind of physical. We are taking care of the physical body, and for this
Right.
physical body, food and all is there. So food, I have been talking about, I've been living that, though I do indulge once in a while, because during the travel it is not possible to be very strictly following those food discipline and exercise discipline. Like today I went for a very long walk, almost three, and I was living in Devrag. Apart from doing my solitude and meditation, I was also walking 3 to 4 hours or almost every second day. And that mountain is very steep. And I was probably covering 1,000 meters, 1,500 meters in one go, that height. And as we go up, it gave you more and more energy. I mean, it was all matter of time. So my walks have become now time bound. Somebody says, "Where are you going for a walk?" I said, "There's no destination. It's only time bound. At this time, I will start back."
That's pretty amazing. I wanted to ask you that because I've been meaning to ask this question, and maybe you can understand it. When they have like all these yogis where they break the Guinness Book of World Record by doing a one pose, let's say exceeding the amount of time that any human can generally do, right? Like, I mean, there was a one yogi, he did like a headstand for 20, I don't know, I can't quote the length, but it was beyond my comprehension. My question to you is that how, like, because they are tapping into this quantum field in a way where they are no longer need to worry about the bodily needs, like bodily needs to drink water, or bodily needs to consume food, or even bodily need to urinate, right, or excrete, because they're not taking in. It's almost like they're just completely tapping into that 0 point energy and having that in beautiful quantum dance. So please elaborate from your perspective and your knowledge of being with these people. What is your thought?
Yeah, so though I won't say that I've come across people that this is the Tapasia. In fact, I just made a video on just to clarify what is the definition of meditation. When people sit like meditation, that is actually a Tapasya which these yogis used to do in a certain pose. Most common pose is sitting pose. So actually, that's a Tapasya. Now, Tapasya is a long period of meditation for not just hours, for months or years. So that's what they used to do. Now, coming to your question about asana, this posture in which you sit. So there are three aspects, as I said, like body, food, and meditation. First, you purify your mind becomes empty. So now you're ready from the mind perspective to go into that kind of a long period of meditation. And then after those long period of meditation, you will actually unravel a lot of mysteries. You will probably see how the involuntary systems are working. And there are yogis who have controlled the involuntary systems. So you will go into the subconscious mind, you will control the subconscious mind. You will also get visions about, you will be able to see, they say, and now I'm talking about something which I really don't know, but they say that people can see their past actions from the previous birth, also they can see that past life. But I'm not going to that because that's too far. But people do come to know about these things beyond, once they get into that level of meditation called tapasya, which was running into a long period of time. Now coming back to, that's a mind part. Now you have to purify your body also. The body purification, for that kind of practice to achieve that, there are two aspects. One is what you eat or what you don't eat. Or I mean, you don't even eat, and how long you don't eat, because when you go to the higher ranges of the Himalayas, the air has got immense amount of energy. The water is providing you immense amount of energy. The water is amazing. Like it is filled with it's coming from some supernatural sources with herbs and this and that. I mean, I've felt I've even experienced it. My diet goes very minimal. I just take soup in the night and khichdi in the daytime and a papaya at the most. So sometimes I walk 1,500 kilometers by just eating khichdi whole day. And when I came down, I was not hungry. So these are the I'm trying to try. Now the third part which you told is how to sustain in that kind of pose for a long time. That's called Asan Siddhi. Asan Siddhi is mastering of a posture. Siddhi is for mastering, and Asan is posture. So in Hindi, it's called Asan Siddhi. One is mental mastery, the body mastery, and the posture mastery. Once you master the posture, then that body becomes still. You can sit in that posture, or you may be standing on one leg. Those are different yoga postures. So they master one of the posture, and then they do meditation in that. So they have stilled the body. The internal systems are also stilled because of the diet you take. So you have disciplined there, you have disciplined this, and you have mastered that, and you have mastered your mind. And now your body is ready to actually do the real meditation, where you will be able to. So I've heard, I've meditated for 3 hours. I've not done more than that. So I am now looking for a place where I can now pursue this. It's like a beginning. One of my videos, beginning a life of a yogi as a beginner. So I've just done 3 months and I started meditating. It was amazing there. So I have to master my pose. I have to master a posture, but it also becomes easy through these regular practices. So maybe it will take me 6 months, 1 year to master a pose where I can sit for. And once you forget your body, I have also experienced forgetting the body. So once you forget the body in the meditation, probably then it will take over. Then probably the mastering of posture will also become irrelevant, probably, because once you've forgotten the body, and then I'm thinking, how does the body leave the body and then come back to the body? This is something which I'm trying to explore. So it's a beginning for me also, but I have probably reached somewhere where I probably understand it now.
Wow. So you're, out of body is what you're talking about. I love what you said, because, so wherever you are on earth, because you are in a very secret part of earth where you are, like when you are in Himalayas, right? The very fact that you said that the water is different, right? The water actually has like a healing power, supernatural, you can say, and air. Well, the water and air are the basic foundation of our environment, right? And the very fact that you're able to eat such a little amount of food and still do more than anyone could do with that amount of food says that the earth is supporting you. It's almost like when you're walking on earth, you're consuming the stuff from the earth, that part of the earth. Your body's crystalline, earth is crystalline. So you're creating that marriage where it becomes like a very balanced interaction between the two, right? Which is why you're able to do things that a person, walking on a LA street may not be able to do the same way, because what you're consuming and what you're breathing, right? That is doing that. That's a great point. And I think that's why one of my quest is to go to places like that and do light body activation, do like a group consciousness interaction, because it would be so magnificent.
Yeah, these places really help. A lot of people ask me, do we really have to go to the Himalayas? A lot of people say you don't have to go to Himalayas. But it offers an environment because the cities, especially in India, have become so polluted, so crowded. So there are too many distractions. So first thing is it chops off all the physical distraction. Like right now, I'm in such a place in a valley where it automatically removes all distractions. There's nothing. You can sit for hours together just doing nothing near the river stream. I take a bath in the river.
Oh,
wow. So idea is we have actually left nature far, really far. And there is a lot to learn from the animals, I see. And how do they live actually? They are close to the nature. They sleep with the sunset. They wake up with the sunrise. They have fixed time to eat. They follow a great amount of discipline. But we have become impure, totally embedded with impurities about the way of life. So in fact, I made another video about sadhana, how to do sadhana, what practice. So it's a way of life. And how you resonate with the nature. When you resonate with the nature, you resonate with the universe. So you align with the universe, and then it manifests. It manifests what you need actually. So you are actually looked after by the nature. We don't trust in the nature. We don't trust in the creation. We don't understand the creation. We don't understand the science of creation, law of nature. And as you go close to the nature, like when I went to live in this place in Devpriya, people told there are tigers or leopards and all. After 6 o'clock, I was scared to go out. Now I go out at 1 o'clock. Now I'm not scared. So like somebody told me, don't go to the forest here. There'll be tiger, and I don't feel. And today I went for a long walk, and the people who are living here, they were telling we saw one tiger. I said, let me see. I saw a tiger in September in Rishikesh, just 200 meters away from me. I was riding a scooter. I let the tiger just cross the road. I didn't stop. I went away. I was actually thrilled to.
Wow.
I was not afraid. I was thrilled. It was a beautiful sight. I saw a deer right in front of me. I was thrilled. Like, nature gives you such thrills. We are afraid of nature. People are afraid of going to the forest, especially in India. Yeah, we have many
No, I
fears.
actually, wow, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, so I agree with you. Nature nurtures us, right? Now, the example that you're giving, and I would say that that's pretty amazing, right? You live in an environment that, yeah, you may have to interact with something as, deadly as tiger, for example. But the very fact that you are not scared,
Humans are
huh?
more deadly, I would say.
Right. I shouldn't use the word deadly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, so I think what I'm saying is that it's interesting that you actually, the fact that you don't have any charge with it, you don't have any fear to it. Also, the tiger is not going to come to you because it's because there's no charge there. It's almost like, because when you're scared, you're sending and broadcasting the message. So tiger is going to notice you even more that, oh, why are you scared of me? Maybe I should be scared of you, right?
Magnetic field you mentioned and I saw in one of your videos. Electromagnetic fields we have.
Exactly, because our electromagnetic field charge changes depending on how we are feeling and what we're thinking. So the very fact that you've come to the point where you are so comfortable in your own skin and you are so much allowing the nature to nurture you that you know that you don't have any reason to interact with the tiger in a negative way, like people are, because people are projecting their fear on you. But you're saying, no, I don't take that fear because I don't think that there's anything to be concerned about. And therefore, even when you interact with it, your interaction is more beautiful than I could imagine. So I think that that's a pretty good lesson by itself. One thing I wanted to ask you, and we have to wrap it up, so maybe we can say our last statement and ask questions. But one thing I wanted to ask you, that the people who are listening to this interview and they are very much interested in exploring your side of the earth and coming to Himalayas and all that good stuff, what would be the best way for them? Because you already have mastered the art of living there, and at least being in that environment. I think there are a lot of people who would want to just get a little glimpse of that beauty. What would be the best way for them to do that?
Previous few podcasts, somebody asked me this question, and one more podcast is going to go live in this video. But I also made a video how to find a place, some people do approach me through my channel also. In fact, there's a guy from UK who's after me. There's another person from Kerala now after me for this. So
Send me a
we can.
link. Send me a link to those videos that you have already done, and I'm going to put that in the description where I'm going to publish this interview. So yeah, make sure you send me the link so that way people can, yeah,
contact them. And they have to do some search where to stay, where to go. So there is a lot of information. But the only thing is people have to be careful where to not fall into commercial traps. There are a lot of commercial things. So and this was my main curiosity when I started going to Rishikesh in 15. I saw it's mostly people from the West are coming to these places to learn the wisdom. And in fact, these last few months back when I was in Rishikesh, I was teaching somewhere. This guy from Spain, he said, we come all the way to India to get knowledge, and there's nobody who's giving knowledge. I said, these are all schools who are making money. And these are all young guys who become yoga teachers, and they've made a package. In fact, the school where I went, the guy told me, I'm a businessman, so you just do this, don't talk, just make them meditate. I said, I know there are people who are selling this meditation as a business. So the problem is they have to how to skim through all this nonsense, this illusion. This is the problem. I can guide them. I will send some videos, and if somebody is coming, they can contact me. I mean, I can guide them. I do guide because that's also one of my mission. The whole idea about making this content is to just guide them. And I am not revealing where I'm going because I mean, I actually don't want to reveal, but probably I feel I'll have to reveal it
No, I
because
think
I'm going to provide place for people. I'm going to a
I
place
think
where I
that's
can.
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect because you're a native. You already know what some people are, like, because there is that, right? People are so much lost in selling a perception that they are not recognizing that they don't have to sell it. Because a place like where you are living, nobody needs to sell it. They just need to be as pure in their intention in saying what the nature does, like you are saying it, like just be pure. And of course, everything costs money to kind of like food or whatever, then people will pay for all that and you don't have to really sell it, is what I'm saying. And I'm so glad you're doing this because that's what I'm saying, that it would be good for people to come to someone whom they can know that they are doing it because it's their passion, it's their pure heart, and they're not there to do as a business proposal. I mean, of course we all have to make money so we can sustain ourselves, and to some extent we should all do that, but that's one thing versus doing something with false advertisement.
Yeah, so I, along with my plunge into this deep thing, I feel I somehow not able to get out of also sharing and helping. So that I feel I shouldn't be doing that. I should be helping. So this will parallelly run, I think.
Yeah.
All people to get to know about what I'm doing, things available here.
Oh,
And
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because you never know. I may end up coming over there. So do you have anything last minute to wrap up this conversation?
Not really. I think I wanted to discuss about quantum physics connection with consciousness, which you could have told. And for me, only one sentence I will say: it's this life is a treasure, and then spirituality is a treasure, and we don't know how we'll go and how we move. And sometimes I also give an example of snakes and ladders board game. It's like snakes and ladders.
Oh,
We can
100%. I use that. I actually have a whole presentation on that because I kind of love. Isn't it interesting how all these simple games have so much messages? And yeah, so you're right. It is all about snake and ladder. And like somebody asked me yesterday that what if I do something and then I realize it was wrong? And I always say that there isn't anything wrong because even if you do, whether you hit a snake or whether you hit a ladder, at the end of the day, you're learning and you're evolving, and that's all we are here to do.
Yeah, we don't relate our modern education system with the spiritual progress. It is same. We have classes, we have professors. People want to go to the professor straight away. They don't understand that there is a stepwise movement here also. So they have to realize where they stand. There's a constant introspection and self-inquiry needed for that to move. And all of their own effort. A lot of people want things magically transmit. They say we want to find a real person who can, but there's no magic here. There's a lot of hard work.
That is true. That is true. And that's where your intuition comes in. That's where your personal quest comes in. That's where your seeker and your attitude of learning and growing and evolving comes in. So yeah, I think this is great, Shiv. I so appreciate us having this conversation and kind of learning about a very different way of living that you have embraced, and you're still, going into that journey. And we will see how it unfolds for you because it's going to be a continuous quest for you to figure out how you're going to do the dance with the mountain and everything you've done up to this point in your life. And yeah, and I feel the similar thing about myself right now, being on a crossroads. So for me, this type of conversation is helping me, and it's also helping people who are wondering how to integrate their passion in their existing life. So the journey continues, and for now, I'm going to say thank you, and we will continue this some other time.
Basically, life can also be seen as a play of mathematics, physics, chemistry.
Oh, life is definitely a game, which is why I say that let's just play.
Can be mathematics and physics and chemistry also at the classical level and at the quantum level, both.
Exactly. That's why the quantum basically encompasses all of these concepts in a very multidimensional way, which is why I think that you would probably enjoy my book, and I would really be very excited to come there one day and talk about the quantum being. I think that would be fun. So But have a wonderful day, and thank you.